The water came slowly at first. For Eleanor Vance in Marlow, UK, it was a creeping dread. She watched the river rise, her garden vanishing beneath murky water. Despite sandbags and preparation, the flood breached her home, soaking memories and foundations alike. "You feel so helpless," she said. "It's a relentless, quiet thief." Across the Atlantic, the Garcia family in Texas had no warning. A sudden storm turned a dry creek into a raging torrent within minutes. Maria Garcia was putting her children to bed when the alert blared. We looked outside and it was like the world was ending. The water wasn't rising, it was attacking. They ran for the attic as their home was battered below. In the UK, the flood was a slow-motion disaster, a test of endurance. Eleanor had time to move valuables, but not to stop the inevitable. In Texas, it was a primal fight for survival. Maria's family made split-second decisions in the dark, surrounded by chaos. 2 floods, 2 continents, one a drawn-out siege, the other a sudden ambush. Both left lives irrevocably changed by the raw power of water. The emotional toll was immense, constant anxiety in the UK, visceral shock in Texas. For Eleanor, the trauma was in the waiting. For Maria, it was in the violent impact. Both families faced the same terrifying outcome: homes lost, futures uncertain. The floods of January 2025 showed that disaster can come as a creeping shadow or a crashing wave. But for those in its path, the result is the same. Everything changes in an instant. 2 stories, 1 truth. Water's power knows no borders. To understand January 2025, you need to know the enemy: floods in 2 forms. In the UK, river floods are slow and methodical. Days of rain saturate the ground, rivers swell, and water creeps over banks. This gives time to prepare sandbags, moving valuables, even evacuating. The danger is in the volume and persistence, not speed. Water lingers, causing long-term damage. In contrast, American flash floods are sudden and violent. Intense storms dump rain in minutes, especially in hilly or urban areas. The ground can't absorb it. Water funnels into low spots, turning dry creeks into raging rivers. There's almost no warning. Flash floods are ambushes. Walls of debris and water sweep away everything in their path. River floods are sieges. Flash floods are assaults. Survival in a flash flood often comes down to seconds and luck. The water recedes quickly, but devastation remains. In both cases, the outcome is the same. Communities upended, landscapes transformed. The UK's slow flood gave time to act, but not to escape the damage. Texas's flash flood gave no time at all. 2 faces of the same threat, each demanding a different kind of resilience. The lesson: whether slow or sudden, floods test every limit. The UK's ordeal began with the Thames Express, weeks of atmospheric rivers drenching the land. By the 3rd week, the ground was saturated. Rivers like the Thames and Severn were at breaking point. A final storm dumped 4 more inches of rain, pushing rivers over their banks. Scientists blamed a weakened jet stream, linked to a warming Arctic, for the relentless weather. In Texas, the disaster was triggered by a clash of air masses. Humid Gulf air met a cold front, sparking explosive storms. A squall line trained over the same area, dumping over 6 inches of rain in 2 hours. The rocky, steep terrain couldn't absorb the water. Flash floods tore through communities with little warning. In the UK, it was a slow-motion catastrophe. In Texas, a sudden onslaught. Both were fueled by extreme weather patterns, intensified by climate change. 2 different triggers. 1, shared vulnerability. In the UK, the flood was a slow unraveling. Homes became islands, families were separated, and daily life ground to a halt. Businesses drowned, farmers lost crops and livestock, and the economic toll mounted. The psychological impact was crushing: constant anxiety, displacement, and loss of security. In Texas, the loss was instant and violent. Homes were obliterated, not just flooded. Survivors returned to find only foundations where houses once stood. The emotional shock was overwhelming. Terror, grief, disbelief. First responders performed daring rescues, but some warnings came too late. Lives were lost, families shattered. The aftermath was about more than rebuilding. It was about mourning and survival. Both disasters left deep scars, physical and emotional. Whether slow or sudden, the human cost was immense. Communities faced the daunting task of recovery, united by loss. The floods exposed the fragility of modern infrastructure. In the UK, railways and roads vanished underwater, cutting off towns and paralyzing travel. Power stations and water treatment plants failed, leaving thousands in darkness and raising fears of contamination. Sewage systems overflowed, creating health hazards. In Texas, the destruction was swift. Roads and bridges were ripped away, gas and water lines ruptured, the power grid collapsed, and communication networks went down, isolating communities. Emergency response was hampered by the scale and speed of the damage. The floods didn't just strain infrastructure, they broke it. Both disasters revealed how quickly the systems we rely on can fail. The challenge ahead: rebuilding stronger, smarter, and more resilient. Technology became a lifeline during the floods. In the UK, the digital river system used real-time sensors and weather models to deliver precise, localized flood warnings. Mobile alerts and interactive maps empowered residents to make informed decisions, move furniture, deploy defenses, or evacuate. In Texas, speed was everything. Phased array radar and automated gauges detected flash floods early. Wireless emergency alerts blasted warnings to every phone, giving families precious minutes to act. For the Garcias, that alert meant survival. Technology turned abstract risk into personal action, but even the best systems can't reach everyone or solve every problem. The floods proved that advanced warnings save lives, but only if people can act on them. The next step: making sure no one is left behind. The new warning system saved lives, no question. In the UK, detailed alerts enabled orderly evacuations and faster emergency response. In Texas, blaring phone alerts woke people and triggered survival instincts, but the systems weren't perfect. In the UK, warning fatigue set in after days of alerts. Some underestimated the final surge. Vulnerable residents struggled to evacuate, even with notice. In Texas, some people missed alerts or didn't know how to escape safely. Technology provided the alarm, but not always the solution. The lesson: warnings are only as good as our ability to act on them. The challenge: bridging the gap between alert and action. As waters receded, the true scale of loss emerged. In the Thames Valley, homes were caked in mud, possessions ruined, and memories lost. Cleanup was slow and heartbreaking. Families salvaged what little they could. Streets filled with skips, insurance assessors tallied the billions in damage. In Texas, the aftermath was chaos. Cars wrapped around trees, homes reduced to rubble. The focus was on search and recovery. For many, nothing was left to save. Yet, communities rallied. Neighbors helped neighbors, volunteers poured in, makeshift command centers coordinated relief, and stories of resilience emerged. The grief was deep, but so was determination. The floods left behind ruin, but also revealed the strength of community. Recovery would be long, but hope persisted. In both places, solidarity became the foundation for rebuilding. The human spirit proved as powerful as the floodwaters. Recovery quickly turned to resilience. In the UK, the focus shifted to working with nature, restoring wetlands, reforesting hills, and building smarter defenses. Communities became active in their own protection, adopting new technologies and resilient designs. The lesson: live with water, not just fight it. In Texas, the emphasis was on better warnings, public education, and stricter building codes. Turnaround, don't drown, became a mantra, with new focus on home safety and emergency plans. Both nations recognized the need for stronger, more connected communities. Fundraisers, cleanups, and support groups helped heal wounds. The floods of January 2025 were a harsh lesson in vulnerability, but they also forged communities that are more prepared, more united, and more hopeful. In the face of rising waters, resilience is our greatest defense.